It's a beautiful day here in Providence, Rhode Island, and I am in the field. And by in the field, I mean in my car. It's mid-May right now when I'm recording this, so not a lot is happening in the field at the moment. Pretty much, I don't know, there's nobody here right now that I can see who's fishing, so nobody to interview yet. I am at a site that's a little bit slower. It's actually right in East Providence on the river. So it's really close to where I live, which is really nice. It took me 10 minutes to get here, which is great. And it's such a beautiful day. Oh my gosh, it's like truly finally spring. Thank goodness. Yeah, but this is the reality of field work sometimes, especially when you're working with people in the field. Sometimes you're just sitting around waiting for something to happen, and I remind myself all the time, like, no data is still data, and it's super frustrating, obviously, because you want to do something. Yeah, I try to make sure that I'm like walking around. Obviously, being outside when it's really nice out, I'll just like take a beach chair and then like put it. Well, right now I'm like in a parking lot, but if I'm like at a beach or in an area where there's grass and I can put a beach chair, it's super nice just to sit in the sun. And that sometimes also becomes really hot in the summertime. Like, can't even do that. And when it's really bad and there's no shade, it's like a lot, very hot. But right now we're not quite at that point yet. Field season's still ramping up, and so I'm just sitting in my car because it's nice out, but I still am a little chilled because I'm like literally always cold. Yeah, but I'm here just waiting for things to happen. So I thought I'd make this little video and talk a little bit about what field season's gonna look like this year and the life of a marine scientist doing it. And it's not always glamorous. And this is brief, like, here I am just hanging out. So yeah, this site that I'm at is not super popular. Like, I've been here a few times last year, not honestly that many times. And this year I've already been here twice, which is kind of interesting. So they select the sites based on fishing pressure, so how many people are there per like time that we sample. So certain sites have somebody there no matter what, like there's always somebody no matter when you go, and other sites are much less popular for whatever reason. And this is one of those that's like, I don't know, I've done a few interviews here but not a crazy number. But it's really a nice site. The only thing that's not awesome about it is that the highway's right there, so you kind of have this like highway noise the whole time, which is not my favorite thing. Obviously, I swear, like, the older I get, the more sensitive I am to like sounds and noises and things, which is, you know, such a problem, right? But sometimes when it's like overstimulating me, I'll just put the windows up, which sucks because I don't want to do that. I'm in the field, I want to enjoy being outside, but also sometimes I need to like regulate my nervous system a little bit. But yeah, so this site today I have an 11 to 5 shift. So most of our shifts in the field are 11 to 5. We call that the primary interval for sampling. And we do have other intervals too. So we can do 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And honestly, those are both kind of nice because then you still have like some of your day to do something you want to do. But the 11 to 5, honestly, like, I cannot complain at all. It's very easy to be out the door by 10 something and get to where you're going by 11, and then you finish at regular work time, so you still have like fairly normal working hours. But yeah, it's always 6-hour shifts for any shore sampling sites that we do. So basically, what I do is I sit here and I wait for fishers that are done fishing for the day. So they have to be recreational, they have to be fin fishing, so they can't be like clamming or cohogging or anything like this. They have to be fishing in US waters, which obviously they are. That kind of only applies to maybe boats that like went crazy far, which I've never encountered. And Let me think. It has to be saltwater. Yeah, saltwater fishing. So if they were also fishing in a stream or something, that part we don't count. So yeah, recreational saltwater fin fishing. And so when those people are done fishing for the day, so they have to be finished for the day, because if they're not, they may go to another site and perhaps my colleague is there. So this is a way to make sure that we don't like duplicate or like doing double interviews. So we just make sure that we're only counting them once, you know. And that can be kind of frustrating sometimes, because you're sitting here and you're like, oh, somebody, they look like they're done. And then you go over there and you're like, hey, can I interview you, basically? And they're like, oh, well, I'm going to another spot. And you're like, okay, have fun. But, you know, there was somebody there, you talked to them, but then you have nothing to put into the, we use like tablets. And we enter our data here. Yeah. Not an iPad, it's like the Samsung version. So yeah, you have nothing to enter into the tablet. You're like, dang it, I did something, but I have nothing to show for it. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. So when they are done for the day though, that's when I can do an interview. So yeah, that's essentially what my field work looks like. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of waiting. There are some certain sites at certain times of the year where I have been busy from start to finish, like nonstop, so intense, just the whole time, like interview. That happened, honestly, it's not all that common, but end of the summer, I had a couple of places, like one particular boat ramp and one shore fishing site that's also boat ramp combined. I had that happen. But to be honest with you, most of the time it's a lot of waiting around, and this isn't always the case with all kinds of field work, but I mean, a lot of the time it is. It's like you have to be really patient. Sometimes you go out looking for a certain species, like other kinds of field work, and you don't come across what you need to find. It's like you never know what Mother Nature is going to serve you. And that's true for the fishers that come here, and so it's true for me as well. You know, some people, they think that we don't want to talk to them if they don't have any catch, which is not true. We always want to talk to them, even if they didn't catch anything. Again, like, no data is still data. But obviously, it's more interesting for them and for us if they did have some catch, and then we can measure and weigh the fish that they catch, identify them down to the species level. But hasn't really happened much yet. So far this season, I have measured 2 fish, 3 fish, all tautog. So yeah, there are some tautog right now in some of the waters. They're in the estuary, Narragansett estuary. And there's also some stripers coming up all the estuary, like going up the rivers. And I have not seen them yet, but I do know they're here. So that's kind of fun. They're chasing like the alewives, the like small little silvery fish, and they chase them up the river. And yeah, striped bass are a huge target for people here in Rhode Island, and I think like generally in New England. They are larger species here, so I'm trying to remember what the size limit is right now. I think it's the same as last year, like between 28 and 31 inches, which is like a kind of a narrow it's a narrow window where you need to get the fish in there. So it's kind of difficult for people. Sometimes they get frustrated, but you know, because that's really specific. If it's too short or too large, then they have to throw it back legally. It's really important though, because that number is not just somebody made it up. Like, it's scientifically derived based on like studies of populations of striped bass right now and in the past. And they are, I believe, the species is not in great shape. It has been overfished in the past. So at one point I want to make a video and talk about the difference between overfished and overfishing, because like leave it to marine science topics, but they're two very different things. Basically one's like overfished in the past, like currently, and whether or not overfishing is taking place right now. So yeah, the striped bass situation is frustrating for a lot of people. But it's really important because the species is recovering from some years of damage, and it's important that people follow the both the size limit and the bag limit, like how many you can have per day, per person, or like sometimes it's by boat if you're out on a charter boat, for example, or a private boat. So yeah, fisheries science is complicated, and a lot of times people will ask like, why is it this way? And there's really no way to just tell them without actually really getting into like all of the science behind it. It's, like I said, not a made up number, not like something that somebody just randomly picked. It's scientifically derived, and there's a lot that goes into that, like stock assessments, trying to estimate how many fish are in the waters around here. Yeah, data from the past. It's a lot. So people get frustrated when it affects them, and I don't blame them. But yeah, a lot of people also have a lot of respect for those limits that are put in place. And sometimes I'll be somewhere and I'll interview someone, they'll be like, you gotta check over there, like they're catching shorts and they're keeping them. And I'm like, yeah, not everyone follows the rules. I can't do anything about it. I'm not law enforcement. Maybe if they see me there, then they'll be motivated to throw said shorts back. They know that they're not supposed to do that, obviously. But I've also seen people out there genuinely fishing for sustenance, like fishing to feed their families. Like they'll take it home to eat it, to, yeah, provide for their families, which sometimes we forget that that happens in a place like the US. You know, you expect that perhaps more in developing countries, but no, it still happens here for sure. And I mean, can you honestly blame them with the price of groceries right now? Like, go out and grow your own food, forage your own food, catch your own food. Honestly, it's quite honorable in a way and holistic. So yeah, I do get it. But yeah, people sometimes are afraid, or they like see me or my colleagues and they're like, oh, I have my license. And I'm like, that's great, I'm glad you do, but that's for the environmental police, it's not me. I'm a scientist. So yeah, that's kind of what the situation is right now. It's, yeah, mid-May. Things are not really crazy yet. Field season is slowly starting. And yeah, the weather is finally getting nice. So I'm here and I'm gonna probably hang out, keep myself entertained. When not a lot is happening, you actually have to be quite good at self-entertaining, and I'm glad that I happen to be. Like, I always have a couple of books. I always have a nonfiction and a fiction book with me. Actually, right now I have 2 fiction books and 1 nonfiction book. I have my journal, and I have a little crochet project that I'm working on, and then I'm gonna call my sister. So you always have things you could do to keep busy. I try to not just look at my phone, because that's tempting sometimes just to like pass the time, but I really try to make good use of the time. And yeah, like study a little bit about marine science if I can, or yeah, I'm also like watching some videos from a course that I'm taking on like building up my podcast. So yeah, lots of things that you can do to pass the time in the field. But yeah, so hey, nice chatting with you. Thanks for tuning in to this little little ramble from the field. And yeah, I'll be coming at you with more little anecdotes and stories from the field in marine science and conservation. And thank you so much for watching.